Good evening. New Orleans police are looking for 3 white men caught on camera beating a person of color in the Marigny.
Police say the men used racial slurs, but as of now, police say they would not be charged with a hate crime. Lauren Bale joins us live from the scene with details. Lauren?
That's right, Ton and Natalie. The NOPD say that during the course of their investigation, they can add a hate crime charge if they find that they need to. But right now, they think that this started as road rage and then turned into a hate-filled beating.
We're looking for somebody to tell us who they are because, they attacked somebody unprovoked. And we're looking to charge them with aggravated battery.
The NOPD say they need the public's help identifying these 3 men caught on security footage beating a man with brass knuckles and beer bottles. It happened after the LSU game early Sunday morning just off Frenchmen Street in the Marigny. The NOPD say the men were standing in the street when a driver attempted to pass and honked at the men to move.
It was an unprovoked attack on a guy that was just trying to drive down the street and get to where he was trying to go.
According to police, the men surrounded the car, and when the driver got out, they attacked.
Somewhat through the attack, they also started to use some sort of racial slurs towards the gentleman, and then they ran away after some passerbys interceded.
Although detectives are not classifying this as a hate crime yet, FBI data shows hate crimes across the country have been increasing since 2014. Hate crimes were up 11.7% in 2016, with African Americans making up the most targeted group, comprising more than a quarter of all hate crime victims.
This is nothing to fool around with. NOPD's got to jump on it. We got to catch these people.
Dr. Peter Scharf is an LSU health criminologist. He says Sunday's attack creates a dangerous path.
The brass knuckles, the racial epithets, they'll divide a city as quickly as anything. And also you have this happen a week after the Pittsburgh massacre.
He says the NOPD need to act.
Make it really clear in the way they respond to this that this is serious business.
And the NOPD are on the same page.
They got to be held accountable.
The NOPD are not releasing the security footage of the attack taken from their crime cameras, but they say if you recognize the men in those photos to call Crime Stoppers, and those photos are also on our website, WWLTV.com. For now, reporting live, Lauren Bale, Eyewitness News.